everybody. It is the Working Brother back at you with another talk. And it is the continuation with George McMillan III, also known as Death by PowerPoint. Welcome back, George. Always good to have you on. Sorry to cut you off last time, but I know that some people don't have the time slots to watch things that are longer than an hour in one go. So let's pick up where we left off. You started talking about something about planetary systems, and you almost lost me, but then it made sense when you tied it all together in the end.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just to reiterate a little bit to catch people up. The way that they start organizing this data is they hire astrophysics people who start to use astrophysics mathematics is what they're using, because the big major kingpins of different organizations are going to be like a sun, and then the different smaller kingpins of smaller organizations that are in their orbit are going to orbit around them. So they're looking for major kingpins as modeling as the sun, and then who follows them, and then how far away are they, meaning they're in somebody's orbit, but they're a smaller player, not a bigger player. So they're lower in the organizations, not higher. Then they're saying, well, you have these different smaller kingpins, and each kingpin along the way is going to have moons that revolve around them. How many moons revolve around them? That would be their captains and lieutenants. And then the different space junk revolving around them would be their foot soldiers. So that's how they start modeling the groups. And then you got a solar system that's in a galaxy with other solar systems. So it's a way to compare how big is the solar system in relationship to the other solar systems, and how big is the galaxy. So they're taking everybody's data that we all put in our social media, and they're organizing everybody in the globe along this planetary type system.
Unless we're all in a flat Earth model, then this whole thing falls apart. Everybody who watched the last episode should give a like to this one, because I withheld all episode from making that corny joke. We have to try. It is a comedy show, supposedly. Tell us more about these choke points on this map. And SIGINT and HUMINT. Is that how it's pronounced? HUMINT?
Yeah, signals intelligence and human intelligence. Because when you have a theory, an abstract theory of causality, you need empirical data to confirm or disprove that, and then adjust your theory. So we got the IT community that's formulating these theories about how people are connected. Now, if these are actually criminal organizations, you're going to see the foot soldiers actually physically committing crimes or terrorism events or something. So then that's when if it's a law enforcement agency, you're going to send your policemen out there to arrest people, or your policemen are doing, you'd be doing, PC arrests of actually seeing somebody commit a crime. That's probable cause. They arrest that person, and then they'll take their cell phones and see who they're connected to see if they're part of a bigger criminal enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
If you can have enough data to support, well, these other people that have cutouts that are operating within a criminal enterprise have to be connected because you've arrested everybody around them. And then you try to prove, well, the different RICO statutes will try to connect someone that owns, quote, a legitimate business. They're really getting their profits through money laundering, and it really comes from illegal activities. So this is how these operations run, whether it be a narco-terrorist cartel, or a drug cartel, or a terrorist organization that's religiously based. Mm-hmm. So they're looking for who's in the solar system, what planets revolve around them, and then how many moons and space junk are around each planet, which would be each kingpin. Then they could figure out the organization and the sub-organizations and how big the movement is, because that would be your solar system, and then where is it in relationship to other solar systems, and that would be your galaxy. So here, going from using that kind of models that does the social networking, because Bill Benny was talking about social networking in the first part of this presentation. So we're talking to how it's tracked, what is being tracked, and the different ways of how they're tracking it. So on a theoretical level, they track it with a planetary system. On a practical level, put up the slide set with the planetary system, galaxy, geopolitics, and CRP. Put up the one with the fiber optic map. Yeah, so that's how they're physically connecting the data, but they're compartmentalizing it with the planetary theories, which is what I'm talking about. And then the different ways to collect different kinds of data, whether it be cell phone data or email data, is the different programs that Bill Benny was talking about, which, I'm not an IT guy. I don't know anything about them.
Let's go down. Where you got this? Is this a screenshot from the video?
Oh yeah. No, the links are in. I mean, some of this stuff is in the New York Times.
Yeah, but no, because this is like blacked out, so like it's redacted. I just wonder if where the original document was from.
I have no idea. It was on the internet. So it's got to be true.
Precisely. Yeah. All right.
I don't know whether that came from. I have no idea how he got it. It was just in. I just clicked it out of the YouTube video that they did.
Yeah.
It was a hacker's video, so I don't know how they obtained it.
No, those are white hat hackers. That hacker conference that you mentioned in our last talk, those are white hat hackers. White hats are good guys.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, moving right along. So then we get to the next slide about the treasure map.
The treasure map?
All right. Yeah. The relationship between SIGINT and human. Yeah, because they got to. Okay, you're on that slide. Let me click down to it. You're good. Leave it there.
Yeah. I'm zooming in on the picture.
All right. See, this is the one that I want to relate to Coach Red Pill, because Coach Red Pill is in a system that he doesn't understand.
We all are, comrade. We all are.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all in it. I mean, I understand it. I can't do anything about it, but I understand it. Or I'm too lazy to do something about it, or whatever. So yeah, you got this top layer where they're organizing people, and they're putting them in different groups. They're seeing what your social interactions are, and then in this one, I'm obviously connected to the Russian Frank Zappa.
Hey, I resent that. I prefer Balkan Gaddafi. I prefer Balkan Gaddafi.
Okay, all right. So then, then it goes down to the next level where they're actually collecting the data, where it's aggregated in different companies. Okay, we're on YouTube, Google here, and you got a Gmail account and a Yahoo account or whatever, AOL account, whatever you got. They're in those different organizations collecting data another way. Then down one layer, where are these things physically located? So in the physical layer, it's got which countries are you in. Then at the bottom layer, it's the geographical layer. All right. If anybody reads the bottom of Google Maps, it will say NGA, which is National Geospatial Agency, and NOAA, which is National Atmospherics and Oceanic Agency. And you'll have Thales, which is a French communications company, located near Toulouse, I think. And you'll see some other companies in there.
Oh, don't
So,
Thales also make like missiles? I think they make missiles as
well,
well.
yeah, they make, well, yeah,
Like
they make missiles. They make,
arms.
yeah, what is it? They make the emitter radios that we
I don't
used to
know.
use and stuff like that. So yeah, they make those kind of high-tech encrypted devices, or in the case of
Hmm.
missiles, well, yeah, they're
A
contracted for
missile.
Boeing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So we go from Coach Red Pill, thinking he's hiding in the closet, but he's really in this system that is tracking him a number of different ways, and then geolocating them to Google Maps and the MIC,
Before we
military industrial.
continue, I just wanna throw out a disclaimer. Like we wish Coach Red Pill, as in Gonzalo Lira, the best, and we hope he gets out soon and he leaves Ukraine in one piece. Because as far as I know, there's still no news of him, right?
Oh, right, right.
We're
But
just using him as an example, but we're all in the same machine, basically. Sorry, I
yeah,
just
oh
wanted to
yeah,
throw that out there in case people didn't get that like clearly in the last video. Continue, George. Sorry to cut you off.
yeah. I mean, I'm not making fun of the guy, or at least I don't mean to. But it is a case study for people to get the bigger picture, because I always do the overarching analysis, right? It's what I've done on Felix's shows, and we're going to continue doing that. So, yeah, he hiding in the closet. He thinks he's doing something, but his router location, they already know where that is. They already got the IP address of that. They already got his physical address from his national IDs, from property records, things like that. So it's really of useless value at that point, because this stuff was mapped out years ago. When you have your internet installed, the company's already writing down the MAC address, device addresses, and putting it in their system. So they already know that anyway. So it's cross-referenced so many different ways, and then you use your ID to get your cell phone, and then your SIM card rather, and then that they can cross-reference that as many ways as they want to, if they're going to devote the manpower to do it, or in this case, just turn the software on to do it.
Exactly. And with the advent of AI, I'm sure they've got little AI bots that run through it all and like give suggestions like we get for ChatGPT to solve, medical exams and law exams. They've got ChatGPT 7.0 working to make sure that we're good internet users, which we are. This is a comedy show. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah. So just to finish up this last video, every time someone's killed or captured or arrested, on the battlefield or on the streets, whatever your area of operation is, it changes the models, because someone's added or subtracted, or you got more information, or one of the space junk people or one of the kingpins is eliminated, or killed, captured. But once you take his information and you got it, then you need to refine the models again.
Mm-hmm.
To see who they've recruited, and see who's still around, and see who's left, or whatever. All right. Okay, so he goes through two systems that they track. One is going to be telephones, which is now everybody's cell phones rather than landlines or voice over IP phones. And then the other one is internet protocol data. So they're just, Bill Benny was just talking about, it seems like they're monitoring a lot of data, but once it breaks down to two categories, you can then, it systematizes into different collection points that they target different ways. All right. So, all right. So going into go to the next slide. So this one's the intelligence community reach architecture, and it's connected by the different alphabet agencies. On the Intel side, he's saying that different law enforcement agencies in the United States have access to it. Then, like you were talking about before, the different Five Eyes agencies have access to it. Now, what Bill Benny was protesting was, his original ThinThed program was only used for external analysis, and it was a way to compartmentalize everything. And when only you had evidence of an arrest indicating that somebody was within a criminal enterprise, would this data actually, that you would actually move from the metadata actually to looking at individuals' communications, which would of course need a search warrant. His beef is, like you're talking about before, they bounce things off to have, okay, if you're not supposed to spy in the country, they get the other Five Eyes country to spy on you. Okay, they did that to George Papadopoulos and Carter Page and those people.
Isn't that what happened with Kim.com as well?
Oh, probably.
You don't know about Kim.com story? People who are not familiar, I suggest look up Kim.com. He actually has a movie about his whole story. It's like a docudrama. It's pretty good.
Okay.
This has become like a TV recommendation show, not like an intellectual chat with George. Let's get back to these databases. Who has access? The KGB has access, or the FSB. That's for sure.
So yeah, you get all these people. Well, they're not supposed to have access.
I mean, if it's all going through underwater cables and there's Russian submarines everywhere, and we all know that Russians blew up the Nord Stream, they must be able to like tap into these as well.
Yeah, maybe. Well,
let's confirm these hypotheses, George. Let's bring this around.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's been plenty of times that the cables have been tapped by both sides. So, yeah. So let's go to the next one where I got the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. So yeah, like we've been talking about, when they physically catch people and do forensic analysis on their electronic devices, they'll confirm how people are related or what they're doing. So here what I'm relating is Bill Benny's layers of maps from 3 slides before I'm relating it to law enforcement models, their pyramid, because they have at the top, they have the administrative crime analysis where they're keeping track of who they think the kingpins are. Let's just say Pablo Escobar or somebody like that. And they're trying to arrest him for a crime, but they need evidence because he doesn't go anywhere near any coca growing plantations, or he doesn't go anywhere near any street gangs that sell it. But yet he's retrieving the income, but he owns legitimate corporations where he's laundering the money through. But they need to actually get the linkages between these different stages to actually connect him to a crime. So you have the abstract layer on top. Now you got to connect that through empirical evidence, actual, catching people doing stuff and knowing what the relationships are. So you got the administrative crime analysis at the top, which is what a district attorney would be doing, or a state's attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually got the tactical crime scene analysis on the bottom. That's your street cop, your criminal investigative unit, or if it's in a battle space, then you're talking about your you're usually talking about your tier 1 and tier 2 operators that are doing kill capture missions. In Iraq, Afghanistan, or whatever. So they're going out, they're targeting people. Hopefully they got a bad guy, right? And
hopefully they didn't bomb a wedding party. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a relationship between, they think these people are involved in it, and they send someone out there to investigate it that does a kill capture or an arrest, whatever, military or police. That's going to confirm or disprove the hypothesis. Mm-hmm. So you're always working with the abstract causal end and your empirical analysis, whether it's the intel community, law enforcement, or in social sciences, which is what I do. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Yeah, so yeah, in criminal, they want to know who the kingpins, captains, and lieutenants are. So I got the pyramid put up a different way. I'll just run through it. Global criminal networks, regional criminal networks, nations or state level criminal networks, interstate criminal enterprises or syndicates, community neighborhood criminal enterprises, and bandits and organized thieves. So it goes through your local, state, federal, international hierarchy there. So let's go down to the next one. Because now, if they're trying to do this to political, if they move away from targeting criminals to targeting someone's political affiliations, that's that's bad, right? So
wrongthink and doublespeak, going back to many of our older episodes. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, George.
Right. So we're relating. Yeah, it's good that you throw that in there. We're still relating the title of Orwell's 1984 with the enemy of the state surveillance and how all that came to bear on Coach Red Pill. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hiding in the closet is if you know how this stuff works, it's laughable. And like I said before, I was telling Felix right away to tell him that hiding in the closet is good. He needs to leave. But again, there's so many people have told him to leave for so many different reasons. Yeah, I'm just reiterating it here because he was told a much simpler version of this. The first week he was, he went from Kiev to Kharkiv. So I was saying he should get out right away because they're going to track him a number of different ways and know his exact location. And if you're using encryption works when the message is in transit. But if his messages are going through Google, YouTube, and you can just click on YouTube and watch it, or you've already compromised his cell phone, you can look at it before you can look at the information before it's encrypted and after encrypted. So in that case, the use of VPNs doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of things don't matter, especially if your phone has been compromised. And if you've, handed your phone over to the authorities, you can basically assume that it's been compromised, and that like you're saying, that they can read it before it's encrypted and after it's encrypted, whatever is sent to you.
Well, we're going to touch that issue in the next section because the old 60-minute show shows how once you get someone's phone number and personal data, which they're already going to have, how easy it is to then hack a cell phone. So then they can duplicate somebody's cell phone, clone it, without them even knowing about it, and infiltrate it and get their encryption apps and then read everything the whole way through. So if you're a big enough target and they're going to put an analyst on that, okay, it only takes an analyst a day to do that nowadays, maybe even just an hour. And then everything's automated because everything's in software. So they just, his countermeasures, I would think that would be totally ineffectual given the apparatus that moved into Kiev after 2004. So, okay. Which slide set are you on right now? I think we're right at the end of this
types of organizations.
Yeah, again, it's okay. So the other one did the hierarchy of criminal investigation. So on this slide set, you have what social networking does relating to what Bill Benny was talking about in these videos is it's putting all people into whatever hierarchies they're in. So in this hierarchy, it talks about the differentiation between criminal versus non-criminal. Okay, if it's criminal, then it's the different classes of crime. So you're compartmentalizing that. And then, okay, the behavioral patterns of setting up different types of crimes, because you're going to do surveillance, you're going to pick a target, You're going to do surveillance on the target. You're going to figure out how to do the crime. You're going to do the crime. Then you're going to try to escape from the crime and then exploit from that crime somehow. If it's a terrorist operation, you're looking to exploit it through media and getting more sympathy for their cause. If it's for profit, then they're going to look to take whatever they stole or drugs that they sold, turn that into money. But to use that money, you have to launder it through some kind of legal enterprise. So then you don't get arrested for tax evasion like Al Capone did.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have to go through different crimes. They're going to have to use different processes in order to exploit their criminal activity in some way. But in 1984, again, back to that, they're targeting political rivals. Or in third world countries, you're talking about targeting political rivals, not criminal rivals. Again, why do I use Aristotle's 6 forms of government? In my unified behavioral theory frameworks, it differentiates between constructive dynamics and destructive dynamics of political and economic polity building. All right, so let's go to the next slide set.
What you just discussed sounds a lot like what's been happening to Imran Khan, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan.
Yeah, that... yeah, we should do a video on that, actually.
We're just throwing it out there.
Yeah, get me off to an asides because let's finish.
We'll do a separate. Yeah, we'll do a separate video. But it sounds a lot like what's been happening to Imran Khan. 150 or 250 court charges or something like that they brought up against him. Something ridiculous like that. But yeah, let's get back to 1984 and our reality.
Yeah. Don't tease me with that one. I would love to talk about that for hours. Anyway, yeah, in this case, okay, where we want to end this slide set and where we want to end the other slide set. We went through the timeline. He went from Kiev to Kharkiv. He had almost the near miss arrest the first time, where he said he was outside smoking a cigarette. Then I think 3 or 4 weeks later, or whatever it was, they came back and arrested the first time. He disappeared for 7 days. He reappeared. People started really wondering what was going on. Was it a publicity stunt, or did it really happen? If it really happened, why did he go right back on the Duran and then start calling Zelensky the cokehead of Kiev and all that kind of stuff? You know, if you are really traumatized by just being arrested for 7 days, why would you? I mean, again, I don't want to go into much about detail for that, because that's been debated ad nauseum the first week he was released, the first time he was arrested. Yeah. And people telling him to leave Ukraine as fast as possible has been debated ever since he was in the Premier Palace Hotel. People are telling me that he needs to get his family and get out. So all that's been debated. So the question now here is, he's compromised. His electronic devices have been compromised the whole time. So the question now is whether it's wittingly or unwittingly. So why would they let him loose for a year and not do anything and then go back and arrest? And then the way that they did arrestment is the rest is a whole conversation in itself. Because they didn't break his door down. They didn't abduct him on the street. It was a knock, wait till he answers the door, and calmly walk in arrest. It was not a dynamic room entry.
Mm-hmm. Like it was the first time. The first time was more dynamic, as you say.
Well, no, it wasn't. Well,
no, they had the guns drawn and everything the first time. It might have been for theater, but the guns were drawn.
No, he never commented on that, remember? Well, anyway, let's not get into that. That's a comment on another show. So, yeah, what they would have been doing in the year in between arrests is they would have been mapping out his social network. So he's arrested, so they physically have his electronic devices, right? So they're going to be doing forensic evidence, and keep in mind, of course, CrowdStrike and these other forensic companies are in Kyiv, and they're all run by by the collective West, all these Silicon Valley firms.
No, because the Russian propaganda, George.
Yeah. So they're going to be doing all kinds of forensic analysis, and they're going to be mapping his social network. So they're physically going to have his phone. So people have been like, oh, when he was gone, I was ringing his phone. I was text messaging, waiting for him to call back. And well, okay, well, now they got that person's emails. Now they got that person's text messages. The VPNs don't do any good because they physically have his phone. So now they're saying who called him first. So whoever calls him first is going to be pretty much the closest relationships to him. So then they're going to know who's the closest. So if he's a planet, they're looking for the moons. So then they're going to find out who's been watching, when they release them, who's watching his YouTube videos, who's watching every single day, and then who are those people watching. So they're going to be mapping these social networks from the different devices in different ways through the software that Bill Benny was talking about earlier in the show. So why would they let him go for a year? Well, they know where he is. They know where his router addresses are. They can triangulate his cell phone. If they can track the information packets from YouTube backwards, if he tries to use different electronic devices and go to different locations, they can eventually track that to a different whatever address he's at through that 4-layer system I was talking about, because that's why that video is up there. So for some reason, they really wanted to track. I mean, the obvious answer is they really want to track his social network. What they're going to do with that information, I don't know. Whether they arrested, I mean, my guess is that they're looking for people inside Ukraine that are his avid fans. They're not going to waste time on someone who just looks at one of his shows once a week. They're going to be looking for somebody in Ukraine that listens every single day. Because A, they would be speaking English, B, they would be a Russian supporter, or probably pro-Russian. So they would want to look at that. Now, right after his first arrest, when he was claiming that he was making it out like Kharkov was under siege and it was going to fall any minute now. I mean, he kind of exaggerated that. You're the one that actually sent me the Associated Press video on Telegram that had the SBU or whatever military units. I mean, we don't really know. People throw the SBU term around probably too loosely, but they were just knocking on people's doors. They weren't doing dynamic room entries, where you kick in someone's door and use the battering ram or blow it up with C4. They were just doing no knock, asking people to step forward, and then they were just casually. They weren't handcuffing them, or at least not on the videos that we saw. They were just casually taking in people and then releasing them a day or two later. So, I don't know. It's difficult for me to talk to people outside the industry sometimes because they don't know why I'm asking certain questions. And then they try to guess why I'm asking, and they guessed wrong. And for me, I just want them to answer the questions. Anyway.
You can ask me, George. Ask me the question that people don't want to answer you.
If they're doing a casual arrest, a knock, and then not handcuffing the guy and ransacking the place, if it's more casual, it indicates that the government is not under pressure. They're functioning normally. Again, structural functionalism. They're functioning normally. They're not under stress. They're casually taking people in, following due process procedures, and then casually releasing them to come back for another court date and investigation. It means things are highly normal there. He was acting like the place was under siege at the time, and Russia was gonna take over the city any day now.
Yeah, I don't think the Russians ever wanted to take that city, just like Kiev. I don't think the plan was to take Kiev or Kharkov.
Right. Again, but that API video that you sent me indicated that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have these different hypotheses being thrown around, and then you start to get some videos like that confirm one set of, or a range of hypotheses and totally disconfirm another.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, Coach Red Pill, I mean, he's very entertaining. He's a lot more entertaining than I am. I got it. I have a $75 Patreon account, and he's got thousands of dollars, so I get it.
I think he's probably closer to tens of thousands, comrade. But yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. So he uses hyperbole, and it's not accurate information at all, as we find out. Mm-hmm. It's totally contradicted by other facts. But yeah, when I ask for specific information, because I run my Telegram channel like a joint operations center, I want people to send me information to prove or disprove hypothesis. I'm really not in. My channel is way different than Michael De La Brock's channel. Michael De La Brock, his channel is funny. It's got 10 times more people than I have on it. But all I want is people to deliver me information to confirm or disprove hypotheses. That's all I want. So every now and then, I'm not even on my channel that much. Every now and then I pop in with something, and I want people to research a certain area and send it to me. So I'm really looking more for subject matter experts on my channel than anything else. So yeah, that API channel, and then I did that short analysis. Well, again, it's a structural functional analysis that, by looking at how they're doing these casual no-knock seizures rounding up the Russian sympathizers and then casually release them. Well, yeah, it means that Kharkov is running functionally normally, but on the intelligence side of it, it means that they're doing more and more further link analysis. So you got the abstract theory of who they think is related. Then they want to run around and grab people's cell phones and look at the information. What they're looking for is people that are trying to stay off the radar, that could be a major player underground, and then trying to capture those people. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for somebody that is that's actually a kingpin, but they're intentionally staying off of social media so they can't be tracked. So then what they're looking for is to catch the foot soldiers that have a linkage to those kingpins, so they can identify the people that are not on electronic social media. So they're using these different methods to do different parts of those different layers that I had listed up top. So again, on my Telegram channel, when I'm looking for information, I'm looking at where they are in those different hierarchies that I had in these slide sets. So I'm using these different hierarchies as different frameworks, as subfield frameworks of analysis, to put a bigger picture together.
George, I think we summed up the first section. I'm going to sneak this little teaser into here for section 2.
Yeah.
Coming soon, as soon as George gets through typing it all up. George, anything else you'd like to shout out or mention before we wrap this up?
Yeah. Oh, no, we're good. Again, we're going to continue the case study. Case studies are good because it goes through, it takes a concrete situation as a reference point, and then you can show people the bigger picture.
And maybe we'll do an off-the-cuff talk about Imran Khan, considering I know you like that area of the world, or at least you're well versed in its religious politics.
He's leading a Pashtun uprising. We can do an off-the-cuff conversation because it's going to be a while before I can actually type up a strategic analysis for that, because he's leading his Pashtun protests from Peshawar into Islamabad. And this movement, okay, the mainstream media just says the people are protesting. Well, his followers are Pashtun. They want to unite Afghanistan and the Pashtun areas of Pakistan. And if they do that, which would include Baluchistan, because they want to connect with Afghanistan, so Afghanistan gains an access to the point from the sea, but then Baluchistan gains its independence from Pakistan and Iran. So there's a lot going on there because of the way the Brits drew the boundary lines.
Maps.
Yeah, they divided these ethnic groups, and it's a bunch of problems, and they're trying to
those damn Brits. It's almost like they did it on purpose everywhere they left. George, that was a good segue into a little preview of what might come in the near future, our stalking. But I realize that we're going to need some maps of ethnic, areas there, and how everything, like, I know what some of those terms that you mentioned mean geographically and ethnically, but some viewers might not. So maps will help. By next time we'll get some. George, thank you again for an amazing lecture. Everyone who stuck around, thank you for sticking around. See you soon.